The bridge of the USS Liberty was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the occasional beep from the control panels. Captain John Davis sat in his command chair, his blue eyes fixed on the main screen. Something strange was happening in space today. "Captain, that signal is still coming through," said Lieutenant Emma White. She sat at the communications station, her fingers dancing over the controls. Her face showed worry as she listened through her headset. "It's been 3 hours now. Same pattern, over and over." John leaned forward in his chair. The signal was unlike anything they had heard before. It came from deep space, from a place where no human ship had ever gone. The computer couldn't match it to any known language or code. "Can you tell where it's coming from?" John asked. Emma checked her screens again. "Yes, sir. It's about 2 light years from our current position, Sector 779. Commander Daniel Smith walked over from his station. He was John's second in command and his most trusted officer. "Captain, that's unexplored territory. We have no idea what's out there." John nodded slowly. He knew Daniel was right to be careful. Space was full of dangers. But something about this signal felt different. It had a pattern that reminded him of Morse code from old Earth. 3 long pulses, 3 short, 3 long again. Over and over. "It could be a distress signal," John said quietly. "Or it could be a trap," Daniel replied. "We've seen pirates use fake distress calls before." John stood up and walked to the front of the bridge. Outside the windows, stars sparkled against the black void of space. He had been captain of the Liberty for 5 years. In that time, he had learned to trust his instincts. "Lieutenant Chang," he called to the science officer, "what do your sensors show?" Peter Chang was a young officer, but one of the best scientists in the fleet. He bent over his instruments, adjusting the controls. "I'm picking up something interesting. Captain, there are energy signatures near the signal source. They're very weak, like dying batteries." "What kind of energy signatures?" John asked. "Unknown, sir, but they're definitely artificial, not natural space phenomena." Peter paused, then looked up with surprise. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships, many of them, all showing signs of heavy damage." The bridge became very quiet. Everyone turned to look at their captain. John returned to his command chair. "On screen, let's see what we're dealing with." The main view screen shimmered and changed. What appeared made everyone gasp. 27 ships hung in space, drifting without power, but these were not like any ships they had seen before. They looked like they were made of crystal or glass. Some were shaped like diamonds, others like long needles. The ships sparkled weakly, their surfaces cracked and broken. Some had huge holes torn in their sides. Others were missing entire sections. "My God," whispered Emma. "What happened to them?" Peter's fingers flew over his console. "I'm reading massive battle damage, weapons fire, hull breaches, system failures across the fleet. Their power systems are failing one by one." "Are there survivors?" John asked, though he dreaded the answer. Peter worked for a moment longer. When he looked up, his face was pale. "Yes, sir. I'm reading approximately 12,000 life signs spread across those ships. But their life support systems are failing. At the current rate of deterioration," he paused to double-check his calculations, "they have maybe 48 hours, probably less." John felt the weight of command on his shoulders. 12,000 lives, beings from a species humanity had never met before. They knew nothing about these aliens. Were they friendly? Hostile? What if this was all an elaborate trap? But then he thought about what it meant to be human. Throughout history, humans had rushed to help others in need. It was what separated them from animals. It was what made them special. "Navigation," John called out. "Plot a course to those ships, best possible speed." "Sir?" The navigation officer, Lieutenant Sam Woods, looked surprised. "You heard me. Set course for the alien fleet." Daniel stepped closer to the captain's chair. He lowered his voice so only John could hear. "Captain, with respect, we should think about this. We don't know anything about these beings. They could be dangerous. We have a responsibility to our own crew." John looked at his friend and fellow officer. "I know, Daniel, but we also have a responsibility as human beings. If we turn away now, if we let 12,000 souls die when we could have helped." He shook his head. "That's not who we are. That's not what humanity stands for." Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. "You're right, sir. I'll prepare the crew." John turned back to the main screen. The alien ships continued to drift, growing weaker by the minute. He pressed the button for ship-wide communication. "Attention all hands, this is the captain. We are changing course to render assistance to a damaged alien fleet. I know this is not what we expected when we started this patrol. I know there are risks, but there are 12,000 beings out there who need our help." They sent a distress signal into the darkness of space, not knowing if anyone would answer. Today, humanity answers that call. He paused, then added, "All departments, prepare for rescue operations. Medical teams, stand ready. Engineering, prepare to assist with repairs. This is what we trained for. This is why we're out here. Liberty crew, let's show the universe what humans are made of." As the Liberty changed course and accelerated toward the alien fleet, John settled back in his chair. He didn't know what they would find. He didn't know if these aliens would be friend or foe. But he knew one thing for certain. When someone called for help, humans answered. That was just what they did. The USS Liberty slowed as it neared the damaged alien fleet. The crystalline ships looked even more broken up close. Some had huge cracks running through their hulls. Others drifted with their engines dark and lifeless. "Bring us within 500 meters of the largest ship," Captain John ordered. "Keep shields up, but weapons powered down. We want to show them we're friendly." The crew worked quickly. Lieutenant Sam at navigation carefully guided the Liberty into position. Daniel kept a close watch on the sensors, making sure there were no sudden movements from the alien ships. "Captain," Emma called from her communications station. "I'm getting a response to our hails. They're sending some kind of data package." "What is it?" John asked. "It looks like a translation program," Peter answered from the science station. "It's adapting to our computer systems. I think they're trying to talk to us." John nodded. "Let it through, but keep security protocols in place." The main screen flickered. At first there was only static. Then, slowly, an image formed. The bridge crew stared in amazement. The alien on the screen was unlike anything they had seen before. It stood at least 8 feet tall, with a body that seemed made of blue crystal. Light pulsed through its form like blood through veins. Instead of a face, it had a smooth surface with 5 eyes arranged in a circle. The eyes blinked one after another, never all at once. "Amazing," whispered Peter. "A silicon-based life form." The alien's image flickered, showing how weak their transmitter was. Then a strange musical voice filled the bridge. It sounded like wind chimes in a soft breeze. "I am Zixi Theta, fleet commander of the Krillani Exodus fleet," the alien said. Each word seemed carefully chosen as the translation program worked. "We thank you for answering our call. We did not think anyone would come." John stepped forward. "I'm Captain John Davis of the United Earthship Liberty. We received your distress signal. We're here to help." The alien's eyes blinked in a wave pattern. "Help? You know nothing of us. Why would you help strangers?" "Because you need it," John said simply. "That's enough for us." "What happened to your fleet?" The crystal being seemed to dim slightly. "We flee the destruction of our homeworld. The Vorthak Empire attacked without warning. They destroyed our cities, our defense fleet. Millions of Krillani died in a single day." A shocked silence fell over the bridge. John's face hardened. "And these ships?" "All that remains of our people," Zix Theta said. 27 ships carrying our children, our elders, our history, our art. All that is left of Krillani civilization. We escaped, but the Vorthak damaged our ships. We have been drifting for weeks. Our power systems fail. Our young ones and injured die." "The Vorthak?" Daniel asked. "Are they still following you?" "Yes," the alien commander answered. "They will not stop until we are all dead. They may find us any day now. We have no working weapons left. No defenses. John turned to his crew. Dr. Amy Carter, our chief medical officer, had been listening from her station. She stood up. Captain, I can organize medical teams. We can set up a treatment area in Cargo Bay 3. It's the largest space we have. Good thinking, John said. How fast can you be ready? Give me 1 hour, Amy replied. She was already tapping on her tablet, making plans. I'll need all my staff and volunteers from other departments. John nodded. You've got it. He turned to his chief engineer, who was watching from a side console. Mike, I need you to assess their ships. See what we can repair quickly. Mike Johnson scratched his beard. Alien tech, Captain. No guarantees, but we'll figure something out. Humans are good at fixing things. I know you will, John said with confidence. He turned back to the screen where Zixitheta waited. Commander, we'll begin helping right away. We'll send medical teams for your injured and engineers to look at your ships. The alien's crystal body pulsed with a slightly brighter light. I do not understand. Why risk yourselves for us? We have nothing to offer in return. We are strangers to you. John smiled. On Earth, we have an old tradition. When someone is in trouble, you help them. Not because you'll get something back, but because it's the right thing to do. Zixitheta was silent for a moment. When the alien spoke again, its voice had a different tone. In all our travels, across many star systems, we have never encountered beings like you. The strong usually ignore the weak. The fortunate turn away from the suffering of others. That's not how humans do things, John said. We're sending teams to your ships now. We'll get your people safe, Commander. That's a promise. As the Liberty's crew rushed to prepare, John looked out at the damaged alien fleet. He didn't know what dangers lay ahead. He didn't know if they could save all these beings, or if the mysterious Vorthak would arrive before they finished. But he knew one thing. Humanity had just made first contact with a new species, and they'd done it by answering a call for help. That, he thought, was something to be proud of. 3 days passed in a blur of activity. The crew of the Liberty worked around the clock, helping the aliens in every way they could. In Cargo Bay 3, Dr. Amy Carter bent over a young Krillani. The alien child was small, only about 3 feet tall. Its crystal body flickered weakly like a light bulb about to burn out. Hand me the mineral solution, Amy said to Nurse Lisa Park, who stood ready beside her. Lisa passed her a container of shimmering liquid. They had made it by following instructions from the Krillani doctors. It contained minerals and elements that the crystal beings needed to heal. Amy carefully poured the solution over the cracks in the child's body. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the liquid was absorbed. The child's light grew a bit stronger. That's it, Amy said softly. That's the third one today showing improvement. Across the cargo bay, more than 50 Krillani children were being treated. Human doctors and nurses moved from bed to bed, working side by side with the tall crystal aliens, who were the Krillani medical staff. Lisa looked around the room. I never thought I'd be helping to heal crystal aliens, she said with a smile. But their bodies make sense in a way. They need energy and minerals instead of food and water. They break instead of bleed. But they can heal, just like us. Amy nodded. The principle is the same everywhere, I guess. Stop the damage, support the system, let the body recover. Down in engineering, Chief Engineer Mike Johnson floated in zero gravity outside one of the Krillani ships. He wore a spacesuit and carried tools that had been modified to work on the crystal technology. Beside him floated a Krillani engineer. This alien was different from the others, with green crystal instead of blue. They communicated through small speakers in their suits. If we connect your power system to this point here, Mike said, pointing to a spot on the ship's hull, we can feed energy from our engines to yours. It won't be perfect, but it should keep your life support running. The alien's response came through Mike's helmet. Your technology is so different from ours, yet you find ways to make them work together. Humans are very adaptable. Mike grinned inside his helmet. That's us. We've been adapting since we climbed down from the trees. Hand me that coupling device, would you? Together, they attached a thick cable from the Liberty to the alien ship. Inside the Liberty's engine room, engineers monitored the power levels carefully. They were feeding energy to 5 Krillani ships already. It put a strain on the Liberty's systems, but the human ship was holding steady. On the bridge, Captain John sat in his command chair. He looked tired after 3 days with little sleep, but his eyes were alert as he read reports from around the ship. 6 more critical patients stabilized, he read aloud. Power restored to the main life support systems on 7 ships. Emergency. Repairs completed on 11 hull breaches. He looked up at Daniel. Not bad for 3 days' work. Daniel nodded. The crew has been amazing, sir. Everyone volunteering for extra shifts. Even the cooks are helping by trying to make food that the Krillani can eat. Emma turned from her communication station. Captain, I've been working with their communications team. We've managed to boost their internal systems. They can now talk between ships again. Good work, John said. What about our message to Earth Command? Any response? Yes, sir, Emma replied. 3 ships are on their way. The USS Freedom, USS Hope, and USS Defiance. They should be here in 4 days. John felt relief wash over him. More ships meant more help for the Krillani, and more protection if the Vorthak showed up. Sir, Lieutenant Har. Alex Roberts called urgently from the tactical station. Long-range sensors just picked something up. Everyone on the bridge tensed. John turned to face the tactical officer. What is it, Lieutenant? Alex's fingers flew over his controls. 3 large ships just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. They're on an intercept course. Krillani ships? Daniel asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. Alex shook his head. No, sir, the configuration is completely different. They're sleek, predatory-looking vessels, heavily armed. John's face hardened. The Vorthak? Yes, sir, I believe so. Alex looked up from his screens. They'll be here in 2 hours at their current speed. John pressed a button on his chair. Battle stations, all crew to emergency positions. The red alert klaxon began to sound throughout the ship. Contact Commander Zixatheta. I need to speak with him now. Within moments, the Krillani commander's image appeared on the main screen. The alien seemed stronger than before, its crystal body glowing more brightly. Captain Davis, what is happening? Zixatheta asked. The Vorthak have found you, John said simply. 3 ships, headed this way. The Krillani's lights dimmed for a moment, their version of a human growing pale. Then we are doomed, we cannot fight. Our weapons are depleted, we cannot run. Our engines are still damaged. Can any of your ships fight at all? John asked. No, Zixatheta replied. We are a refugee fleet now, not warships. John nodded slowly. He had expected this answer. Then we'll have to stand and fight. The Liberty will position itself between your fleet and the Vorthak. Captain Davis. Zixatheta's voice rose in alarm. You cannot. The Vorthak have destroyed entire battle groups. 1 ship cannot stop them. They will kill you all. John stood from his chair. Around him, his crew prepared for battle. No one protested his decision. No one suggested abandoning the Krillani. They were all ready to do what was necessary. Maybe, John said to the alien commander. But we're not going to run and leave you here to die. That's not what humans do. We'll hold them off as long as we can. Maybe our other ships will arrive in time. Zixatheta was silent for a long moment. Then the alien's crystal body seemed to straighten with new resolve. Then the Krillani will help however we can. Our sensors still work. We can form a network. Around your ship, feed you targeting data. It is not much, but it is all we have to offer. John smiled grimly. Every little bit helps, Commander. Now let's get ready. We've got a fight coming. Vorthak ships approaching, Captain. 2 minutes until weapons range, Lieutenant Alex reported from the tactical station. Captain John stood in the center of the bridge. Everyone was at their battle stations. The ship hummed with energy as all systems prepared for combat. On screen, John ordered. The main view screen showed 3 black ships moving toward them. The Vorthak vessels were shaped like arrowheads, sleek and deadly. Red lights glowed along their hulls like angry eyes. "They're scanning us," Peter said from the science station. "They're probably surprised to find a ship they don't recognize." John nodded. "Let's introduce ourselves then. Open a channel." Emma worked her controls. "Channel open, sir." John looked directly at the screen. "Vorthak vessels, this is Captain John Davis of the USS Liberty, representing Earth and humanity. The Krillani refugee fleet is under our protection. Turn around and leave this system immediately." For a long moment, there was no response. Then, a harsh voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel, this is War Commander Drazak of the Vorthak Empire. The Krillani are enemies of our empire. Stand aside or be destroyed with them." The voice was cold and without emotion. It sent a chill through the bridge crew. John's face remained calm. "I'm afraid we can't do that, War Commander. These people are refugees seeking safety. They pose no threat to you or anyone else." "They exist. That is threat enough," came the reply. "This is your final warning. Move your ship or die with the crystal vermin." John's eyes hardened. "Liberty crew, prepare for combat. Shields at maximum." Daniel moved to stand beside his captain. "Sir, we're outgunned 3-1. "I know," John said quietly. "But we can't abandon these people." "I wasn't suggesting we should," Daniel replied with a small smile. "Just stating facts. The crew is with you, Captain, all the way." John nodded gratefully to his friend. "Tactical, target the lead ship, fire when ready." The Liberty fired first. Blue energy beams shot from the human ship, striking the lead Vorthak vessel. Its black shields flared purple where the beams hit. Then the Vorthak ships returned fire. Red beams lashed out, hammering the Liberty's shields. The human ship shook violently. "Shields holding at 80%, Alex called out. "Evasive maneuvers," John ordered. "Pattern Delta 7. Sam's hands flew over the navigation controls. The Liberty rolled and banked like a fighter jet, not a starship. The Vorthak ships tried to follow but couldn't match the human ship's agility. "They're splitting up," Daniel warned. "Trying to surround us." John had expected this. "That's why we have the Krillani sensor net. Emma, are we getting their data?" "Yes, Captain," Emma replied. "Coming in now." Suddenly, the tactical display lit up with new information. The Krillani ships, spread out in a wide pattern, were sending sensor readings to the Liberty. They could now see exactly where the Vorthak ships were even when they weren't directly in front of them. "We've got a clean shot at the rear of the rightmost ship," Alex said. "Their shields are weaker there." "Fire!" John ordered. The Liberty's weapons struck perfectly. The Vorthak ship's shields failed in one section, and the human weapons hit its hull directly. Black metal tore open, and atmosphere vented into space. "Direct hit," Alex called out. But the battle was far from over. The Vorthak ships regrouped and came at the Liberty from 3 directions at once. Red beams struck the human ship again and again. "Shields down to 40%, Alex reported. Another hit rocked the ship. People fell from their chairs. A console exploded in sparks. 30%! John gripped his chair as the ship shuddered around him. They couldn't keep this up much longer. The Liberty was fighting bravely, but she was just 1 ship against 3. "Captain, we have damage on deck 6 through 9, Daniel reported. "Hull breach on deck 8, emergency force fields holding." John made a difficult decision. "Engineering, route all power to weapons. Drop the shields." "Sir?" Daniel looked shocked. "That's suicide." "Trust me," John said. He opened a channel to the Krillani fleet. "Commander Zixatheta, I need your sensor net to focus on finding weak points in the Vorthak ships. Every detail, every fluctuation, feed it directly to our targeting systems." "Captain Davis, you cannot drop your shields," Zixatheta protested. "You will be destroyed." "We'll be destroyed anyway if we can't disable their ships," John replied. "This is our only chance, trust me." There was a pause. "Very well, Captain. The Krillani trust you with our lives. We will do as you ask." John turned to his tactical officer. "Alex, when I give the order, drop shields and fire everything we have. Use the Krillani targeting data to hit their weak points." Alex nodded, his face grim but determined. "Yes, sir." The Liberty continued to take fire. Shields dropped to 20%, then 15%. Now, John ordered. The shields around the Liberty disappeared. The ship was completely exposed. But at the same moment, all its weapons fired at once. Guided by the precise Krillani sensor data, every shot struck a vulnerable point on the Vorthak ships. One Vorthak vessel lost its engines in a fiery explosion. Another's weapons went dark as power failed throughout its systems. The third took heavy damage to its command center. But now, the Liberty was defenseless. A single shot from the remaining operational Vorthak weapons struck the human ship directly. The bridge shook violently. Panels exploded. Smoke filled the air. "Hull breach on Deck 5, Daniel shouted over the noise of alarms. "Critical damage to engines." John knew they couldn't take another hit. They had hurt the Vorthak badly, but at a terrible cost. They were about to lose everything. Then Emma shouted from communications, "Captain, I'm picking up new ships entering the system." "More Vorthak?" John asked, his heart sinking. Emma's face broke into a smile. "No, sir. It's the USS Freedom, USS Hope, and USS Defiance. They've arrived early." The main screen showed 3 human ships dropping out of hyperspace. They were sleek and powerful, their weapons already firing at the damaged Vorthak vessels. "This is Captain Kate Morgan of the USS Freedom." A confident female voice came over the comm. "Sorry we're late to the party, Liberty. Earth Command sent us at maximum speed when they got your message." John felt relief wash over him. "Your timing is perfect, Freedom. We've softened them up for you." The 3 fresh human ships made quick work of the damaged Vorthak vessels. Faced with 4 human ships and their unconventional tactics, the Vorthak commander made the decision to retreat. The remaining functional ship grabbed its damaged companions with tractor beams and jumped back into hyperspace. On the bridge of the Liberty, the crew cheered. They were battered and wounded, but they had done it. They had held the line until help arrived. The Krillani were safe. 2 weeks after the battle, the Liberty floated beside the Krillani fleet. Both had been repaired with the help of the other human ships. The crystal vessels glowed brightly now, their surfaces mended, and their systems running well again. Captain John stood in the Liberty's main meeting room. The wall screens showed stars streaming by outside. Across from him stood Commander Zixatheta. The tall crystal being seemed healthier, glowing with a steady blue light. "Your engineers have worked miracles, Captain Davis," Zixatheta said. "All 27 of our ships can now travel again. Our injured are healing, our children are safe." John smiled. "I'm glad we could help. The repairs to the Liberty are almost done too, thanks to your technical advice." The 2 leaders had come to know each other well during these weeks. Despite their different bodies, one of flesh and blood, one of living crystal, they had found much in common. "Our fleet is ready to depart for our new colony world," Zixatheta said. "It is time to say goodbye." John nodded, though he felt a touch of sadness. "We'll provide escort until you reach safe space. Captain Morgan and the other ships will stay with you all the way to your new home." Zixatheta's eyes blinked in their circular pattern. "My people still do not fully understand why you helped us. The Vorthak will be angry. They may even target your world someday because of what you did." "We'll deal with that if it happens," John said. "We couldn't just leave you to die." "No other species we have encountered would have made that choice," Zixatheta said. John thought for a moment. "My grandfather used to tell me stories about Earth's history. There were times when people turned away from those in need, times of war and hatred. We learned, over many painful centuries, that helping others makes us stronger, not weaker. That we're all connected even across the stars." Zixatheta's crystal body pulsed with warm light. "The Krillani will not forget what humanity did for us. Our songs will tell of the day when strangers came to our aid when all seemed lost. When beings with bodies of flesh and blood fought for beings of crystal and light." John smiled. "Maybe. That's how it should be. Different kinds of people helping each other, looking past what makes us different to see what makes us the same." "The Vorthak will return," Zixatheta warned. "They do not forgive. Then they'll find us ready," John replied, "and you won't face them alone anymore. The Krillani have friends now. The alien moved in what John had come to recognize as their version of a nod. You humans are strange beings. You risk your lives for strangers. You celebrate your differences instead of fearing them. The galaxy should know what manner of beings you are. An hour later, John stood on the bridge of the Liberty. On the main screen, he watched as the Krillani fleet moved away, their crystal ships sparkling in the starlight. 4 human ships accompanied them. The Freedom, Hope, and Defiance would escort them all the way to their new home. Daniel stood beside his captain. "Do you think we'll see them again?" "I hope so," John said. "Maybe next time under better circumstances." Emma turned from her communication station. "Captain, I'm picking up something interesting. The Krillani are broadcasting a message on all frequencies." "What kind of message?" John asked. "It's a simple repeating signal," Emma said, "being sent in all directions across space. The translation reads, 'If you are in danger, if you need help, call for the humans. They answer.'" John smiled as the Liberty turned toward home. In the vast emptiness of space, the Krillani message spread outward like ripples in a pond. A new reputation was being born. Humans, the ones who answer when called. In the years that followed, other distress signals would reach human ships. Some from species they knew, others from complete strangers. And each time, humanity would answer the call. Because that's what humans do.